Formula One is in its mid-season break, the drivers are on vacation, and after a long gap, we are out on inters again. I am Excel, and joining me as always is my co-host Quacke. Quacke, this isn't the first time we are recording this episode. What's going on?
It's about 20 minutes too long a gap since we've been talking about Formula One, at least on record. It was supposed to be 20 minutes shorter of a gap, so yeah. No, we I forgot to record the correct audio device, but now everything's moving, all the meters are moving.
Yeah.
So now we're going, and yeah, we're unticking all the boxes on our show notes document, so we talk about it again. Yeah, so if we
Yeah,
address
after
if we address something as I said before, you don't have to rewind. It was before before the recording.
we'll release it out as bloopers at some point. You can lip read the entire
uh,
episode. That's fine. So, Quacke, the summer break is going on. How have you been enjoying the break from F1, I guess?
it's been fun. It doesn't feel like a big summer break because I don't think we've had like I said before, we had the bigger break. We had the bigger break in the schedule,
Yeah.
not even bigger break. It's just a big break before Hungary as well. So we had what I think it was 3 weeks between Hungary
Yeah.
and no, sorry, Hungary and Belgium was together, but it was
Back
between
to back.
the
Before Hungary.
British and Belgium. That's when we had a really
Mhm.
big break for reasons I didn't really understand to begin with, but yeah, now we've actually had the big break. We're actually in the middle of it right now, pretty much, and
Yeah.
we're heading to the Netherlands in 2 weeks about. So yeah, we haven't had huge off-season news. I don't feel like because I feel like the whole
Yeah, no.
the big news story was Max, which we're gonna talk about, I think, and that's sort of happened and fallen apart. But I think that was around the time like, that was July, so that's already been.
Yeah. That was before the last weekend of the season so far.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not no, we haven't had any huge things. Usually at this point we have rosters being locked down, but yeah, even like if you were expecting something out of like the Cadillac news or whatever, we
Mm.
haven't really had anything big for that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think F1 has started doing this in recent years where there's just a random 3 or 4 week break in the middle of the year. Last year it was after Singapore, this year it was after Silverstone. And it just zaps the energy from the fans. A lot of news hits the fan at that time. And the actual midsummer break feels like a bit of a holding period for everyone.
yeah.
So, but it gives us time to recap the entire F1 season without races coming in between. So let's talk about the championship first of all. Oscar Piastri looks to be on his way to the first world championship. He has a points lead in the standings so far, and Norris has been mostly lucky to win races in the recent months since Monaco. So overall, how do you think the McLaren fight has been going on, and who do you back to take the championship?
I want Oscar to win it, and I think he's gonna win it. I think he's the hungrier guy for it. Norris is a Ken driver as well. I think Norris definitely has what it takes. It's just that Oscar feels like the guy who's gonna take Norris out to win a championship if he needs to. And
Hmm.
that's the sort of hunger that I think might make the difference here. But
Yeah.
I also just think Oscar is a stronger driver. I think he proves it, particularly on Saturdays. Like if Norris could qualify as good as Oscar does, then I think he might be
Hmm.
winning because he keeps catching up. Like even when he qualifies a couple of spots off Oscar, he's still up there in the race, and they're usually finishing next to each other. I
Yeah.
feel like so.
1-2.
Yeah. So that's if Norris could qualify, that would be better. But right now he can't. Like there's not. He's not really doing that. So.
Yeah. And the ruthlessness and like the precision that you mentioned, I think
Mm.
if you look at the multi-world champions, the people you put in the GOAT conversation, it's only really Hamilton who does not have that ruthlessness that he will take out a competitor to get his championship or to get his win.
Yeah.
Apart from that, everyone that you talk about, whether it be Senna, whether it be Prost, those two famously had the back-to-back collision years. And then you look at the modern ones like Schumacher and Verstappen, they will all take you out, even if it's just for a couple more points in a race.
Yeah.
So that's something where Oscar, like you said, has that extra edge to go for the move that he needs. But he's playing it very smartly, like Verstappen was doing last year, where even when he's behind, like you said in the previous recording, even when he's behind, he takes the second place instead of crashing out like Norris did in Canada. So
Norris feels like he gets stressed and gets sloppy a lot of the time when he's
yeah,
behind.
yeah. I think another thing is that if you listen to the communication between Norris and his engineer, a lot of the time it feels like it's driver coaching for a rookie instead of a 6 or 7 season veteran at this point.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the way a championship is won, by your engineer constantly being like, you can overtake here, you press that button, do this?
No, no, absolutely not. And I think that's absolutely an issue. Yeah, it's not the way it should be going. So yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be Oscar. He just feels like the better champion to me. He's a lot calmer under pressure, and he also has the ability to put that pressure on Norris. And I think that's
Yeah.
one of the things which is really gonna make him crack. So yeah, he's leading. He's
Yeah,
leading
I think.
in. I think he's still leading
Mhm.
in wins, right?
Yeah, definitely 6-3 or something, 6-4 maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's about all you need. Like if he's winning more, Norris is, coming up to him, but difference being that Norris qualifies like 7th or 8th, while
Hmm.
Piastri takes pole and wins from pole. Norris,
Yeah.
Oscar's up there in second place whenever Norris is actually managing to get that win.
Yeah. I think we saw this in Monza last year, where Leclerc was going for the winner with a one-stop strategy, and Piastri had like a 6-7 lap tire advantage over him after his second stop.
Mm.
And the laps that he put in were just absolutely metronomical, and that's what we are seeing race after race this season as well. That even when he's tilted or angry and driving at his absolute limit, Oscar is just perfect in every lap that he drives.
Mm.
Whereas Norris often makes mistakes, gets in his own head, and even just simple things like traffic coming in the way can mess Norris's catch up.
Yeah, exactly, and that is not championship behavior. Like you want to see out of a champion, you want to see like, as you put it, the ruthlessness, and you don't really get that
Yeah.
whatsoever. So yeah, it's gonna be Oscar. I'm excited about that. I like that. I know I saw somebody say something like, "Oh, Oscar doesn't like." Why are people talking about Oscar like he's some proven championship candidate just because he's won
Hmm.
F3, F2, and like, and all of it in his first season? And I was like,
How
well,
is
yeah,
he a proven championship
yeah,
contender? He's only won every championship ever.
yeah, at the first attempt as well. He's, why are people talking about him as a championship contender? He's only won F3 and F2 the first time he tried it. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah,
Mm.
I don't. Yeah, no, it's gonna be
Well,
Oscar.
where the McLaren battle is super close, one teammate fight that isn't going as well as the Ferrari battle.
Hmm.
The car has been not great, but even then, Leclerc has been much, much better in qualifying in races in every way imaginable
Mm.
compared to Hamilton. What do you think is going on with Hamilton's season? And do you think it's just too late for Hamilton to recover at this point?
This season I think it's going to be difficult to recover. I think he's already quite far off Charles, and it's sort of going to have to flip where Charles loses something for it to
Yeah.
change the course of the season. So he's lost the teammate fight, I think. I'm not sure he needs to be. It was going to be a bit of an adjustment going into Ferrari, going into a different team and a different dynamic, different car as well. So for
Hmm.
for Lewis, I'm not. I don't think it's that bad. It's probably worse than I expected, but it's not. I did expect Leclerc to beat him this year. Next year is the one
Yeah.
where I feel like if he's gonna put up a fight, it's gonna be next year. But I think it's a difficulty with the car. I think it's maybe is a little bit of abrasion with the team more so than the very well-oiled machine that he had in McLaren and
Mercedes. Yeah.
Mercedes. Yeah, because he gets at both teams he'd been there for a number of years, and like you build connections
Hmm.
and this happens. He sort of had to do it all again, and
Yeah.
this time I don't think he's gonna have as many years to try to do that as he had in those two teams. So for him, I feel like maybe there's a couple of kinks there that you need to work out, but that's probably gonna come with time. It is still a very good driver we're talking about, and I think so. I think in the end that's gonna work out. I'd maybe honestly be a little bit more worried about, like, with that said, why he is there, because how much is he influencing the car development? How much is he influencing the team?
Hmm.
And how much fruit are you actually going to be able to take from that? Like, compared to, well, if you just double down on Leclerc and got him like a solid second
Yeah.
driver. Um, and just relied on his experience, on his feedback, on the way he wants to shape the team. So, what are you actually reaping from this process? If because I don't see Hamilton staying on for 5 years. Um, I don't really see him with Ferrari by what would be 2029, 2030.
Yeah.
So, what are you really getting out of this? Is that really going to be productive? I'm not sure. But the way it's looking, I mean, look, you would hope that maybe towards the tail end of this season, towards next season, that's
Mm-hmm.
when we can start to see a solid level out of Hamilton where he can really put the fight to Charles and maybe even upwards. So, yeah.
Yeah, the time period thing is what I'm more interested in. I expected Hamilton to lose out to Leclerc this season, like you said.
Yeah.
But the bigger issue for me has been like 14 races into the season, he's still having weekends where he's qualifying in Q1 or Q2,
Mm.
whereas Leclerc is putting it in podium positions. The car is upgraded. The car should be faster. Leclerc is proving that it's faster. Maybe it doesn't suit Hamilton to the same degree, but 14 races is a lot of time period to get suited to another car. Like people like Hulkenberg that we will talk about later
Mm.
have managed to get that assimilation period and managed to pull out absolutely amazing performances where Hamilton is just not able to do that. The best finish he's had is fourth in Silverstone, I think.
Yeah, I would even say that you have even Hulkenberg, like,
Mm-hmm.
he's moved between a lot of different teams. He's very experienced, but it's also even somebody like a Bortoleto. Um,
Yeah.
I think in that same Sauber has really adjusted, and Hadjar has really adjusted to Formula One. And when there's rookies who feel more comfortable in the car than you do as a seven-time world champion in a Ferrari, that it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like a whole lot of confidence for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, everything can also change. He is still a very good driver, and I don't doubt his ability to eventually find performance in the car. But
Yeah.
right now,
I,
it's
I
looking good.
agree with that. That eventually Hamilton will be there. He will be performing maybe for a couple of years. Ferrari will have the best driver pairing in the field.
Mm.
But right now, if you took the nameplates off, Hamilton looks more like 2024 Perez than he does like any other competent driver.
Yeah, I,
So
I think
with
you're
that
right.
bombshell and me getting death threats from the Tifosi and the LH44 team, let's move on to Red Bull. We did not get a chance to talk about this news so far, but Christian Horner, the only team principal Red Bull had in its 20-year existence, is out of the team now, and Lauren Mekias has taken over the reins. Some would say it came many months too late, 18 months too late for the Horner removal. Some people like Jos Verstappen have been talking about it for ages at this point. But
Mm.
do you think the move was justified, and do you think Laurent will be a good replacement?
I think while you can make the argument that, like, okay, he is the only team principal they've had. They've had all of their success under him. That's been a
Yeah.
proven formula twice over as well. Like, especially the fact he's done it twice over with two entirely different driver lineups in different eras of the
Mm-hmm.
sport. I still think that a new face is going to be good. And does it have that much to do with that scandal? I'm not sure. I think it was partially that, but if it was only that, then he would have been gone.
Yeah.
Because when that happened, they were still winning, and
Mm-hmm.
at this point, it's more so he, all of the other factors which kept him on sort of started disappearing because they're not winning anymore. It is a natural time to make changes for Red Bull because they have a car which is more and more over this season. It's looking like it's not winning races. It's won two, but like
Mm-hmm.
further and further, it's getting further and further away. I
Yeah.
think didn't we have like the first non-points finish for Max in ages? Just like
Yeah, I think it's close to 8 or 9 years, I think.
it was something wild like that. And yeah,
Yeah.
he had no points in Austria. That was the first time
Mm-hmm.
in ages
And
he
at
missed no
Red Bull
points.
Ring as well.
Yeah. So it's definitely it's an era shift for sure. But the
Mm-hmm.
question is like it's the question is like if Lauren Mekis is the better pick for that. On the one hand, he has that Ferrari background. He has
Yeah.
like he's come maybe not in the team principal role, but he's come from relatively successful teams in the past. Not to say that they won championships in his time, but they fought for them. They were up
Yeah.
there. He also comes from like the junior teams, and that I think has been good for Like if you look at something similar, is Ferrari right now with Vasseur coming from
Mm.
Sauber. He's obviously familiar with Leclerc, and
Yeah.
like being able to make your drivers comfortable in a way which is like that's one of the more important skills I think when you're running one of the lower ranked teams, because you often have inexperienced drivers and you need to make them comfortable, and your ability to do so correlates with success a lot more. So for that, I think it's been good for Ferrari. I think it's gonna be good for whoever is in the second Red Bull seat, Yuki at the moment,
I think
specifically since
Christian was, yeah.
yeah, no, specifically since they have
I
worked
think
together
Christian
as
was,
well. Yeah,
sorry.
no
I think
worries.
Christian was someone who was like the old school team principal, where he controlled everything that a team does,
Mm.
from race strategy, from technical decisions to the business end as well. And Lauren is more in the Andrea Stella vein of team principals, where he is much more of a technical guy
Yeah,
and will be much more closely working with the technical team to fix the awful car that they have right now and hopefully get it to a decent place next year.
yeah, and you need that because you lost Newey as well. So
Yeah.
more of a you can't really replace Newey talent wise. I don't think you can expect to do that anyway. So what you
Mm.
need instead is to work harder. Like if you can't work smarter, you got to work harder, and having somebody who's used to that, I think is better. But yeah,
Talking about the drivers, then Max is now finally logged in for Red Bull, and Yuki Tsunoda might still have a chance to make it to 2026 with the same team. How do you rate Yuki's season since he's jumped over to the senior team? Does he have the potential to stay on and be in the Constructors' Championship fight next year?
I think he showed promise early on, but at this point it is basically equal to Lawson, the way he's qualifying, the way he's playing at the race. It's one thing if you qualify poorly and then make it up during the race, but he's not doing that. It's one thing if he would have at least qualified well and could have finished in the points. He's not really doing that either. Nothing's really working for him at the moment, and I'm not sure. I think, look, if you look back in the past, I think you need to look back to the 2018 season,
Yeah.
and the only successful second drivers Red Bull have had overall, I think, were Perez and Ricardo in that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's experience. It's experience rather than anything else. So for that, like, is it maybe time to just go for that? Just go for somebody like that, but then also like you gotta pick the right one, and that's a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Max is even that locked in because we had the Mercedes news, and that seems to have fallen apart. But I did read this
Mm-hmm.
week, and I can't remember the source, that Aston Martin have a negotiation link open with Max, and
Okay.
also that Mercedes, like the conversation link is still open. Like it
Yeah.
seems to have fallen apart, but it's still it's not ruled out.
I think it's more that Max can't break his contract for 2026 anymore, but he can still jump ship in 2027, depending on
Oh,
how it goes.
that might be true.
Yeah.
That might be very true.
Yeah, because the contract clause that he was using, he could have used to get out, was that he would be out of the top three when the summer break starts. So
And he's
that
not.
is currently, oh, yeah.
Hmm. All right.
So that might mean 2027 max to Aston Martin or Mercedes, depending on who gets the good car next year, maybe.
Yeah. Also contract depending, because
Yeah.
I think we're gonna talk about it later. But George, you're not gonna sign a 1 year deal with George because you want
I
Max to
mean,
come in
we can jump
2027.
right into that. We can jump right into
Yeah.
that topic. They gave a 1+1 deal to Lewis Hamilton. Do you think they won't do that to George Russell?
No, because Lewis was more towards the tail end of his career, and you're looking for like, can we just get a little bit more out of you? Um, Russell, I'm not sure he would take it. I think he wants a multi-year deal, and I think he knows that if he goes shopping for that multi-year deal, he might find it. I'm looking at the 2026 grid right now, and there's a couple of spots which are definitely undecided. Cadillac,
Mm.
namely, Mercedes. Technically, I haven't confirmed either of the drivers, but Antonelli's
Yeah.
should be on a multi-year.
Antonelli, I think, got the extension because of his performances in the starting of the season.
Probably, yeah. He's not
Yeah.
announced, but he's
Mm.
probably there. There's obviously the second Red Bull seat, also not confirmed. I think look, if I think there's a chance that if they offer anything less than a multi-year deal for Russell, he might go to Red Bull. Like maybe he's the experienced, hungry driver they want next to Max there.
I mean, Red Bull said no to Carlos Sainz because of his past with Verstappen. Russell and Verstappen is a much more active rivalry. Do you think Red Bull will make that decision? Maybe Christian Horner not being there changes their mind.
Yeah, maybe Lauren just doesn't care that much about that. And look, if Max wants to Max wants to leave anyway, so like what do they care? If like at this point they might be confident in the fact that Max is going to be out by next year. Then who cares? What's another year? You can just sign a 3 year with Russell, and just 26 is an off year, probably with the driver lineup. So it's
Yeah.
insanely skilled driver lineup, so probably not. But yeah, it's and I just feel like okay, so if Mercedes are really or if they're happy waiting until 2027 to get Max, what the hell are they gonna do with Russell? Because I don't think he's gonna take a 1 year deal, knowing that he's out in a year. I think he'd rather shop now in that case, or maybe even just say, look, alright, then I'm off the grid and I'm gonna be the first guy to sign a contract for 27. Because like you can sit out a year, you could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very weird. So for that, yeah, that's I think it's gonna be interesting, and also the Aston Martin line being open as well. Alonso obviously has a deal for next year.
Yeah.
That's the one where I feel like that's probably breakable, and I would imagine that it's not 100% locked in. That's probably
Yeah, I mean, Alonso himself has said that he's treating 2026 as his final year if it comes to it.
yeah. I would even consider that maybe that contract is not entirely watertight. Like maybe you could even break it and say we're
I
getting
mean, you
yeah.
could even give Stroll a 1 year break to do endurance racing and bring him back after that.
Oh yeah, you could
He's
absolutely
always
do
going
that.
to be part of the team. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is actually something that a lot of people say that can't remember if it was on this show or if it was on with somebody else I was talking to, or if I read it somewhere where I hypothesized that Stroller was going to be out at some
Mm.
point, and somebody I don't remember if it was you or if I read it somewhere or if somebody else said it, but they said, "Do you really think Lawrence Stroll would spend all of these millions and millions to get his
Yeah.
son into a championship driving car only to fire him when it gets good?" Like, but the thing is, you could do that. He's still just gonna be part of the team. He's relatively young still,
Yeah.
and if you want to, if you can't break Alonso's contract, benching Stroll, putting him in a reserve driver role, having worked the simulator, as you said, endurance
Hmm.
racing, let him try some other stuff. Broaden his experience and try to just bang it out with a Max or a Russell next to Alonso, and then when
Yeah.
Alonso's deal is up, you put Stroll back in.
Yeah. That
Could
could also be a play. So Toto has to lock down Russell really quickly before we start coming up with crazy conspiracy theories.
Yeah, because what the hell are they gonna do? I don't. Yeah, Russell is somebody who I could see. I could see him in Aston Martin. If I could basically see
Hmm.
him wherever Max doesn't go. Like if Max, I could see him in a Red Bull. If Max is not in a Red Bull,
Yeah.
I could see him in a. I could see him in a Aston Martin if Max is not going there, and if Alonso is not staying. I could see him in. I could see him in a Cadillac. He could be a very valuable lead driver for a new Cadillac
Yeah, for sure.
outfit. Yeah, like Alpine have a seat open. Like Gasly, Russell, strong ass driver lineup. So yeah,
I think anyone outside Mercedes, sorry, not Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren should immediately sign Russell if he becomes available.
yeah. Speaking of them, how many more races does Colapinto have on his
Oh,
5?
He's shifted to a race by race contract at this point.
All right, all right.
Yeah, his timer already ran out, but Flavio probably forgot about it.
Doohan was also confirmed to have lost his Alpine seat to Colapinto on a rotating seat basis, with the latter scheduled to
Yeah.
debut for 5 races.
Hmm. The 5 races expired a bit ago, but they just aren't doing anything. There was some news about how Bottas might be going there, but
I like that.
I don't think he, I don't think he wants to be in a team like that.
No, maybe it's a bit of a shit show, but it's also
Considering the shit show he had to endure at Sauber itself last year,
that's
and
true.
how he says that it was a mistake going there instead of somewhere else. I
Yeah,
don't see why just because there's a Mercedes engine attached to it, you would go to Alpine this year or next year.
I think he's pretty happy staying in Mercedes. To be honest, I don't think he
Yeah.
minds being in the reserve driver role, and I don't know. I don't know if he races anything on the side. He did like I think he did like a little rally thing, but I don't know if he has any endurance racing or anything. But when you're a reserve driver, that door is always open. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Well, let's jump into the midfield battle now.
Mm.
Sauber is some like has found a step or maybe 10 steps that just weren't expected at all at the start of the season. We had them pegged at 10th in the rankings going into the season as well, and they were kind of proving us right. But now that Jonathan Wheatley has integrated into the team and Mattia Binotto is in control for a whole season,
Mm.
it looks like the team has just turned its season around with a single upgrade. How do you
Mm.
think Sauber's season is going? And you can jump into the Hulkenberg podium if you want as well.
I think it's going really well. I think they've sort of flipped around a lot of the stuff that they were doing poorly last year, because this year they're doing really well in pit stops, and I can only imagine that's as a reaction to how poorly they did last year. So like
Yeah.
operationally, that's a big win for them. Being able to get these big upgrades as well, we didn't see anything of that last year. I think they were very stagnant. Um,
Yeah, the update they got was at the end of the season in like Qatar, and that's
yeah,
what allowed you to get the points.
and then the question is how much of that was the upgrade moving you forward, and how much of that was just that the
Yeah,
others didn't upgrade at the same time. So
yeah.
it's big. No, but this year I feel like they've been better. They've been more effective with that. I think they're really utilizing Hulkenberg properly. Not just the one
Mm.
podium, but also race to race. He's been excellent. I think he's in the top 10 of this season. So far. I'm just gonna check that super fast. Yes, he is in. Yeah, he's ninth, and
Yeah.
that's with a disqualification as well, which he yeah. So yeah, he's up there with the podium. He had a string of points finishes just before that as well. But yeah, that podium. It's a. I watched it back because I was only half watching it, but then I watched it back in full,
Yeah.
and obviously like it's a bit of a dull race if I'm honest overall, because of even with the
Yeah.
changing conditions, he doesn't really move. He just gets in a good position and stays there. But that's exciting for him, because that's what he has failed to do in every other time he's been
Yeah.
up in those podium positions.
He's been coming for ages at this point. He almost lost his career during the COVID years as well. So
Mm.
to have the podium finally come after this long and at a Sauber of all teams, uh, it was really impressive. Like, I was watching live and I just paused everything else that I was doing and I was just cheering for Hulkenberg to get that podium at that point.
Yeah. So
Because that race could so easily have been another one of Stroll's podiums where he is in the wet and he just drives the car and everyone else falls behind him somehow.
yeah,
But instead, Hulkenberg both outdrove Stroll and then kept Hamilton back for the entire last 15 laps, which is mighty impressive to get your first podium, I think.
yeah. And I mean, basically all of his other attempts at this have come during wet races. Um,
Mm.
when he's been running up there, it's been. I remember Germany 2019.
Mm.
Yes, big chaos, but he was up there. He crashed out, but like
Yeah.
he's benefited off of that, and he's been able to keep his head down. And in this case, he did as well. And it was perfectly timed. Let's not remember that was, or let's not forget that was from last as well. So
Yeah.
it's very much a tactical win. And again, that's also Sauber. That's operationally. That's really good. When you can
Hmm.
capitalize on those opportunities as sort of a backmarker team, that's when you score your wins. That's when you score your points, because you aren't going to qualify up higher than in the middle of Q2
Yeah.
for most of the time. So yeah, that's when you need to take those strategy wins. That's when you need to take those opportunistic moments, and especially for Sauber, who never really have the pure pace. I feel like
Hmm.
even in the years they've been doing well, they've never really had that pure pace compared to the mid pack
Any of
teams.
the better team. Yeah.
Yeah, they almost always win because of strategy. I feel like, and
Hmm.
that's gone years back. So uh, for the team as a whole, that's also a big win for them.
Yeah, I think overall the team has been working very well. But in the terms of the drivers, like you are praising Hulkenberg for his performances across all the races. I would tend to agree he got a lot of points in some key races, but overall, I tend to think that Bortoleto might be more impressive amongst the two because Hulkenberg was supposed to be the one lap specialist who comes in and gets the qualifying done. And we have had races where Hulkenberg is qualifying 19th and Bortoleto is in the top 10. And in the last race before the break, Bortoleto even managed to hold off people like Max Verstappen towards the end of the race to hold on to a sixth position. I
Yeah,
think that is, in some ways, for a rookie, that is extremely impressive.
yeah, and he didn't score points until the last four races. But
Yeah.
even before that, he was having a really solid run where he was always up there in P14, P12, P14.
Hmm.
That's a really solid range to have, especially for a Sauber driver, I think, and especially this year. Um, it's not gonna show up on the scoreboard, but even when he didn't score, he was pretty much always very close, and that's very solid. There were also times during the races when he was running really well, like even if he didn't finish as well as he was running, just to be up there is also a very good spot to be in. So for that, yes, Bortoleto is one of the better rookies this year.
Hmm.
I'm not sure where I'd place him next to Antonelli because Antonelli has had some pretty high highs, but maybe some lower lows. I can't think of a race where I feel like Bortoleto properly failed, other than
Yeah,
just he was
I think
slower.
it was maybe the first race in Australia where he crashed out, but that's about it.
Yeah, and like if yeah, so that's
Yeah.
really solid for Bortoleto.
Okay, moving on to their closest rival in the midfield battle. Williams have the a big lead above the teams below them. They are quite a way away from making it to the top four. But for a team that was consistently towards the back of the grid every year, a P5 in the Constructors' Championship would be amazing. How do you think Williams' season has been going, considering they were writing the season off for 2026 at the start?
I think they've done great. I think Alex has really um, found a really good thing with the way that he's driving
Mm-hmm.
and the way that he's managing to put in performances. He's actually challenging Antonelli in the drivers' table as well. He's 10 points
Mm-hmm.
off. That is absolutely not impossible that he gets past there. He's only had, aside from three straight retirements in Spain, Canada, and
Yeah,
Australia, which is unfortunate. But as I recall, it was a bit of a. It wasn't like crashes. It
it was
was
a team engine issue
yeah,
that kept popping up again and again.
yeah. So for that, it wasn't exactly his fault. Aside from that, he's only had two finishes outside the points. That's really solid
Yeah.
for a team which would have been this Sauber backmarker in the past. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
Signs.
while Alex has been great,
Yeah.
like you say, Science has just not been to the same level that we expect. Like this is something a caveat that we can give to people like Hamilton is that they haven't switched teams that often in their career. Science has gone into four or five different teams in just the 8 years that he's been in F1. So he should be able to get catch up to Alex a lot quicker. And the way we were rating it, Sainz was supposed to be the far better driver this season, and Alex would have to prove that he is good enough to stay with a team that is trying to get into the top three. Do
Yeah,
you think Sainz has done anything?
I don't think he's done. He's had a couple of races here and there where I feel like he's really solid. In the mid part of the season, he was scoring very consistently. Especially now, I'm looking at the table. It's very there's eighth place, ninth place, eighth place, tenth
Yeah,
place. He qualified a bit better in a couple of those races, I think. But there's also some low lows. Belgium was really bad for him.
yeah,
Hungary as well. There's not much to take. And especially considering he's really delivered in all of those other teams he's driven for. Like he
yeah,
was very good in McLaren, and I think he was really solid in Renault, even if he was maybe playing second fiddle. Toro Rosso as well. He's got some really good finishes there.
he beat Max in that first season as well.
Yeah, and then Ferrari, he's definitely up there as well. With he
Yeah.
was there for 4 years, and he did four really solid years, very consistent years.
Hmm.
So to come into Williams and not for the first time ever, I don't think, but for the first time in probably a while, be ways off your teammate is not exactly a good
Yeah.
look. Um, so that I'm not overly happy about. I think there's
Hmm.
let's see what happens because stuff can still change. It's gonna be hard to recover the season, but there's also like with having so many consistently good drivers and consistently good teams, we have four teams who
Yeah.
should be scoring consistently. Um,
Hmm.
the 16 points he has right now, he only needs 12 more, and he's up into the top 10. So
Yeah.
as things stand, so he needs to outscore the other drivers ahead of him by 12 points. Could do that
Yeah.
in two race weekends. Like it's not It's not difficult.
Yeah,
So
I mean, last year after the summer break was when Williams had those big points hauls with Albon and Colapinto both driving to the limit. So Sainz could still have that and catch up to the other drivers.
yeah, and it is just that like we're so top heavy in every race where there's 7 cars you expect to score every time.
Yeah.
It's only 4, 2, and 1. There's only another 7 points on offer in the first place. So
Hmm.
yeah, if he can find his form, he's gonna climb quickly. But right now he doesn't have that whatsoever, and that's
Hmm.
a little bit worrying.
Yeah. Talking about the team itself for a quick minute. Already a great season. They had the car outside the wind tunnel, and there was also the report that they had so little crash damage this year that they were able to bring extra updates to this year's car that they had done in the pipeline as well. Williams is in a good place for 2026, and if the Mercedes engine is as strong as they are expecting it to be, Williams could be part of the group that we discuss at the top next year.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're. That's just where I thought they were going to end up. I thought that they were going to be solid, solidly best of the rest, and then start to enter the conversation with how Ferrari are looking, how Mercedes are looking,
Yeah.
or were looking at parts of the season. They were at this point how Red Bull are looking, um,
Mm.
and try to make it in there. And yeah, they have have a lot of resources which have been well spent. So yeah, that I'm happy about. I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see really solid, especially if we can lift Signs in at the tail end of the season, especially if Sainz can find some
Yeah.
extra performance towards the end of this year. I'm gonna be really happy with their position for the next year.
Okay, quickly running through the rest of the midfield teams. First of all, we've got RB.
Mm.
Liam Lawson has finally found his footing and has stepped up his points finishes towards the end of the first half of the season. Is he making a case to stay at RB and be part of the Red Bull family going on, or is Lindblad still coming in?
I think he's made a good case. I think it's hard to say that he's been too bad for Racing Bulls. There was a bit of an
Hmm.
adjustment period early on, but he's up there now, starting to score points, 20 points, and all of them are for Racing Bulls as well. So that's good. That's better than the aforementioned Sainz in
Yeah.
a car that is maybe slightly worse than the Williams overall. Uh,
Mm.
he's definitely still worse than Hadjar, I would say. Overall, Hadjar has been the
Yeah,
better
I
driver,
agree.
and that's not good to say about a rookie. But
Mm.
um, but yeah, then you're also, as you say, you're also comparing him to Lindblad, and that's a bit of a I'm not sure because as much as Lindblad has been really solid, me personally, I don't think he's that locked in for a Red Bull seat
Okay.
at the moment. Uh,
Do you think he gets the Liam treatment himself, where he's the reserve driver for a year?
that could absolutely be the case. Yeah, that could really be the case. But it's just like I'm looking at the F2 standings right now, and I don't even think he's the best Red Bull junior. Is the weird thing.
Okay.
Pepe Marti is ahead of
Who
him.
else is? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Pepe Marti is ahead of him. And I think also, I think the championship, like if he was winning F2 this year, and if he was like solidly winning F2, I would absolutely say that yeah, okay, it's worth. You have a Liam Lawson who has probably shown everything he can do for us. Let him go. Maybe he can
Hmm.
stay in F1. Like maybe he's a candidate for a Cadillac or for maybe an Audi down the line, or like you know he could work the midfield like this. But if I think he's shown what he can do for Red Bull because he's not going to be winning constructors championships for them. Uh,
Yeah.
but and then you could take Lindblad, but Lindblad doesn't have that sort of level. I think at the moment he's. I'm pretty sure the championship leader for Neroli. I think he's a free agent. I don't think he's
Mm.
connected to any of the academies. Um, so and he won F3 last year. He's probably
Yeah.
it's looking like he's winning F2 this year.
Hmm.
I'd go for somebody like him maybe, but like he's not really sticking it to the others. That's the thing. I feel like
Yeah.
everybody set up Lindblad to be the next Red Bull driver, and maybe he is the next one, but it's I don't feel like it's that solid at the moment. I'd maybe be more
Well.
cautious of Red Bull
Yeah.
getting an experienced driver for the main team and Tsunoda and Lawson being the Racing Bulls or sorry, Tsunoda, Hadjar being the Racing Bulls lineup.
I mean, at that point, are you keeping Sonoda? If Hajar has been that impressive, which I think he's the rookie of the year so far, do you think Hajar has a chance to take the place and then we can free up another seat for Lindblad that way?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess, but it's just beating a dead horse if you're putting another rookie into the main Red Bull seat.
Yeah.
Um, I would probably rather see that they keep Hadjar Lawson or they keep Tsunoda Hadjar with a more experienced driver in the Red Bull, and then Tsunoda could
Mm.
move on to. I mean, he's been linked. He could make the Honda move to Aston Martin. Like if Max and Russell aren't going there, then you could put you could put him in an Aston Martin.
Is Yuki Tsunoda in a front running team as impressive as even Lance Stroll?
Uh... I don't know. Everybody said that he could move with Honda. This was rumored like a couple of years ago that he would move with Honda to Aston Martin, but
I mean, the potential is there that Honda could facilitate a deal for sure,
yeah,
but
it's not a
realistically,
sexy.
do
Yeah,
you fire Stroll? Like, if he hadn't been in the Red Bull car this year, maybe then you can make the case that we haven't seen him in a front running car. But now that we have seen it, even if it's not the perfect car for him, whatever the case may be, Stroll has just gotten a another points finish back to back. He's the points leader in that team over Alonso this season, I think, still, and
they're
he had
equal.
a chance to go for a podium as well.
Yeah, they're equal at 26, but Stroll has competed one fewer races because he was out because of his
Yeah.
wrist injury. Maybe also a case to put him out. Like in any case, no matter who you put in, maybe he needs to recover or whatever. Maybe he goes out because of an injury, but I don't know. No,
Yeah.
it's not as sexy as a Verstappen or a Russell, of course. I think there's a case to be made, but it's not. It's not. It's not really as solid. I don't think. No, you're right. But hey, who knows? Like a lot of stuff could happen. Mainly, I just don't
Mm.
think Lindblad is going to come in. I just don't. I just don't think that's happening right.
Okay.
I'm not even sure he has super license points. Let me check. There's a. If he finishes seventh.
They had him running in the Asian F4 or something to get more points last
Yeah.
year.
Okay. He's eligible because he won Formula Regional, which gave him 18.
Yeah.
He came third in Italian Formula 4, and he came fourth in Formula 3. So he's already eligible for this year.
Yeah.
But like, nah, I'm not sure I would take him.
Okay. Well, we jumped into the Aston conversation already, so we can continue there.
hmm
Aston, for the first time in this ground effect rule or the existence of the Aston Martin tag in the modern F1 era, has an upgrade package that actually worked. They leveled up the car, they got more performance out of it, and even when they tried going back to the old one, they were immediately shown in the data and in the result that the old package was not as good, and the upgrade has clearly made it better. Is that a great positive sign for Aston Martin going into 2026, especially since Newey hasn't been actively working on these upgrades?
Yeah, I'd say so. I would say so. I think they have a really solid thing going at the moment. I think they showed really good stuff with Stroll, obviously. For once,
Mm-hmm.
he was up there and kind of showing that random Lance Stroll talent, which he can show sometimes. I think
Yeah.
Alonso as well is shaping up from previously only like he was retiring in every time he was running in the points. Now he's up there. That's a reliability fix for them. So
Mm-hmm.
that I'm happy about. Um, I'm not sure. I think it's too late to really put the fight, like to really fight forward again with the limited points on offer as well, where you have
Yeah. For this season, it's probably too late for them.
yeah, with especially with the limited points on offer, like you get
Mm-hmm.
you get nothing if you're 11th. So that's hard, but it's also Williams, and that's also the signs of it. Like if you would probably need Stroll to also be working weekend to weekend to
Mm-hmm.
bring the fight to Albon and Williams, even with the working Alonso. But at the moment, that's not really happening. At the moment, I think they're going to be beat by Sauber, who are
Yeah.
just 1 point behind them and just had scored a podium the other week. So yeah, no, I'm not even Racing Bulls. Like if Lawson and Handjar shown that they can relatively consistently score points, as soon as you get
Yeah.
both of them in the points, that's such a mother load of points for
Yeah,
Racing
it's a
Bull Star.
completely lockout for Aston Martin to even be in the top 10 at that point.
Yeah, that's gonna be difficult for them. So yeah, then I'm not overly optimistic about that. But I like the direction they're going. I think there's promise for next year with
Yeah.
as you said, Newey's not working on the car. He's not allowed to work on this year's car, is he? Not.
He is allowed to, but he's choosing to spend more time on 2026 because Aston has all its eggs in that basket.
Yeah, it makes sense because you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a lot of Newey time on the new car,
Yeah.
but you're also, if you can find good stuff in this year as well, that's even better for next year because a lot of that is going to be
Yeah, that's
reusable.
leveling up your team as a whole as well.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. At this rate, we are going to have so many teams fighting at the front next year that the back marker will be Red Bull.
I keep feeling that we need a better point system where we need points at least down to like 14th.
Oh,
Just
not
because
even the 12 that some people were suggesting.
at 12 I'd say it's fine as well, but it is the fact that like we have 12 would make sense since we have another team as well. Like there's going to be more non-scoring teams than scoring
Yeah.
or cars. So but mostly I just feel like it's really it's already really difficult to get into those positions when you have cars consist, and it doesn't really matter which cars they are. Like, maybe it's changing the rules because of how players are performing, and that's not exactly fair. Like, it's not.
I mean, it's not just that. Cars have become so much more reliable that it's not that common to have 8 or 9 non-finishers as it was in the past.
Yeah,
Like nowadays, we get so many races where every single car that started the race finishes it.
yeah,
So maybe that is something that they have to take into account. And like you said, the limited points means people like Bartoletta and Behrman, who have consistently finished in positions like 11th and 12th this season, don't get recognized at all compared to their teammates who had one good run to the 5th or 3rd position in the standings.
yeah. The what? Sorry. Behrman. He had 4 straight
Yeah,
11ths. That's.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that gets nothing. He could have just as well been 20th 4 times in a row. So
Mm.
that's I keep thinking that, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe Red Bull drop out entirely next year.
Mm. Well, before we get to the open-ended questions for the end of the show, I want to talk about Alpine, but I don't want to talk about Alpine. So, Quacke, explain what Alpine is doing this season.
Gasly is fine, and the other seat is in even more disarray than the Red Bull. I don't have any complaints about Gasly. I think he's there. He's one of those guys who finishes 13th consistently. Like, and then
Yeah.
he does get the odd points. He was good in Britain, scored a point in Belgium. He's up there in Spain as well. He's a bit here and there, and that's solid. That's just solid. You can't really say anything else about it. The weird thing is the Doohan and the Colapinto of it all, because they gave Doohan 6 races, as was reported
Yeah.
that they would do prior to the season. Um, and he didn't score. He came 13th, 15th, 14th, and 17th, bookended by 2 retirements.
Yeah.
You put Colapinto in on a 5-race lease, which was already really weird the way they said that, but they put him in on a 5-race lease. He scored 16th, 13th, 15th, 13th, and 15th. And then they extend him because of that. I'm not even sure if his average would even be better. I guess it would be because he didn't have the 17th, but
Yeah.
it was super weird. He has a DNS in Britain. I remember it happening. I don't remember what for.
I think it was something similar to the science incident where his brakes got stuck or something like that, and they had to pull the car into the garage at the end.
Yeah, all right. And really stupid. And now he's back. He's still not scoring. And in the
Yeah.
off-season tests, he also crashed.
Yeah, that was one of the more hilarious news that I have read, where driver just crashes out in a test.
Big crash as well, because you're in a
Yeah.
test and like you're already known to be prone to that. Haven't had a
Yeah.
huge.
And it wasn't just Alpine test, it was for the Pirelli tire testing for next year as well. So it's like every single team loses out because Colapinto crashes.
Yeah, so makes no sense. It makes no sense why they would do that. If there's a Bottas waiting in the wings who's actually down for that move, I think it would be good for Alpine. But I'm not even sure there is. I think it's just a really unattractive spot at the moment. And the way,
I mean, a driver may not be waiting in the wings, but there was some rumors or hints at potential Christian Horner move to Alpine,
hmm,
where he takes over that team as team principal, considering they don't have one right now. And we know that he is in with a lot of the old school F1 people like Flavio Briatore. Do you think
yeah,
that's something he should do? Or it is just too impossible to save Alpine at this point?
I think it's over. I think so. I think this year is over. I don't think there's any swap you need to make this year. For
Yeah,
next year,
this year, yes. Next year, whatever.
they don't have the Mercedes engines now, right? That's for next year.
No, they made it next year. Yeah.
I think that could do a lot for them. It's worked out really well for McLaren. Um,
Hmm.
I'd say there's still, look, as much as it's down in the dumps, you still have a car which is not the worst outright.
Yeah.
I think pound for pound the Alpine is still a fine car. There's no car I would say is outright the worst.
Yeah, I think aerodynamically, it's a good car. The engine cutting off just ruins Gasly's races completely.
Yeah, and we have most years we have a car which is so shit it never scores, but this year we just
Yeah.
don't have that. Everybody's scoring
Hmm.
pretty solidly, so in that sense, I think you have a pretty solid car. I think you have at least one really solid driver, and I would just continue as you are. I don't think there's a big shift which we need to make here. I think Alpine.
Okay.
I don't see them moving forward, but I don't see huge. It's weird. I don't see huge issues with them either. Like,
Okay.
hmm, it's weird.
Do you have any choice on the driver situation then?
Again, I like this for Neroli kid who's winning F2 after winning F3 and is
Hmm.
unconnected to any academy. He's Italian. I would assume he would be a Ferrari junior, but like, honestly, as far as I can tell, he's not, which is
I don't think he is. Yeah.
that's wide or wild. Um, yeah, I would take him. There's talent in Formula 2 this year. I think. I don't think
Hmm.
there's a huge. Yeah, I don't know. No, I'd be happy with that. I don't think this is an established driver. You could go for a Paris maybe. Renault being maybe the
Yeah.
one midfield team he hasn't driven for before. So maybe go for that. But I also think Cadillac would be happy with that, and I think there's talent elsewhere as well. Um, it's a lot of the same conversations. I feel like whoever doesn't end up in Cadillac might end up in, aside from like IndyCar drivers who seem to want to move over.
I think
Uh,
currently Cadillac is still looking at more the F1 crop of veterans in Bottas and Perez. But there was also the talk about Mick Schumacher possibly joining the team since he's joining Cadillac for the endurance program as well. And that would be in a reserve role instead of a main team role,
yeah,
surprisingly.
don't hate it.
Yeah.
Don't hate it whatsoever. So that's yeah. Um, I think Colapinto as well. I've been high on Colapinto before.
Mhm.
Not sure I am anymore, but
Okay.
who knows? Who knows what could happen?
I mean, I think he still has some speed in him somewhere, but he just isn't able to put it on show in the Alpine so far. The Williams run that he had was mighty impressive, but this season has completely washed it all out. So I agree. If they were to drop Colapinto after this season, I don't think anyone would really complain.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
yeah.
So looking at the rest of the season, we've got about 10 races left. What are you excited for? What are you looking forward to?
I want to see the grid finish up because at this point we're getting quite late on. In the past few years, we've definitely had um, very early. We've been able to lock in like a lot of stuff last year. A lot of stuff was triggered very early, even the year prior when
Yeah.
Lewis announced the move to Ferrari. Even before, I think he announced it even before the 2023
Yeah,
season
just
ended.
as we ended it. Yeah.
Yeah, super early. So that obviously kicked off a lot of stuff early. Science was basically locked up by well
Mhm.
before the summer break, as I remember. Um, and he was maybe the big mover. So running through
Yeah.
the list right now, we have Gasly confirmed, second driver not confirmed
Mhm.
for Alpine. There's options. There's options to be had.
Yeah.
Aston Martin technically locked down. I think both of those are tenuous. You could
Breakable.
you could
Yeah.
break both of those. I think. Um, Audi, Bortoleto, and Hulkenberg. That is locked down, and I think it's going to stay locked down. I think they're happy with that.
Pretty solid lineup for a new team, essentially.
Yep. Cadillac don't have anything right now, and I've heard different things. Perez is one guy who I've seen connected. I've seen, as you said, Mick Schumacher. I've seen Bottas has been mentioned. But then it also is the fact that I think they said, didn't they say outright that they want to bring what's his
An
face?
American.
Yeah, but
Coordinator, I think. But that was back when the team was still Andretti and Michael Andretti was leading the charge. Now that he's not in the picture as much, maybe they change their plans.
Yeah. Colton heard it. Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be a fine signing. I think he's fine. I'm not sure he is even eligible. With.
Yeah, he probably isn't. I think he would have had to finish in the top 2 or top 3 in the standings this year to be eligible, something like that.
Yeah, he's. I haven't really paid attention to the IndyCar season so far, but yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to go there. I think Perez is maybe the most solid lead they have. It's an experienced driver. There is an American connection. It's North American.
It's an America, yes.
Yeah, it's an America, and yeah, there's options to be had there. There's also rookies like again F2. Look in the F2 talent pool because I think there's talented drivers. It's a Ferrari engine as well. There's every chance for like a Haas side grade move. You know, whatever happens there.
I mean, Dino Beganovic was in the conversation as well because of that link.
Yep. Like they could. The conversation there would be like a discount on Ferrari engines in favor of we get to have one of our junior drivers in your car.
Yeah, something like what the old Sauber deal used to be.
Yeah. Speaking of Ferrari, they have it locked down. I don't think anything's changing. I've thought about like, oh, could Charles move if Max moves or whatever. No, and I don't think it's happening. Haas have Ocon and Behrman on contract, and I like that. I think that's fine. McLaren.
If it completely falls apart, and
if there's
Norris goes Rosberg mode,
yeah, then maybe, but I don't think so. They should be extremely happy with their drivers, and I think if that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen a couple of years down the line. Mercedes have nothing at the moment. I think Antonelli is gonna stay on. Been good enough, and they've invested so much into him. It would make no sense to drop him. That Max link being open, actually, like I'm not entirely out on it, but we'll see. I think they might extend with Russell. If they don't, I would say it's hard to pick
Bottas for a year.
Yeah, it might just be Bottas coming back in. That's not the worst thing either.
Because I don't think any of the good drivers are free anymore.
Yeah, it would be him or Checo, I guess. I'd rather have Bottas. So,
I mean, yeah, between the two, I would definitely have Bottas.
Yeah, or Mick maybe, but again, I would still have Bottas. Yeah. Racing Bulls, they don't lock anything down until basically after New Year's.
The main team is done.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna see Hadjar stay on, and I think we're gonna see either Tsunoda or Lawson in that season. To be honest, I don't think we're seeing Lindblad. And then Williams have everything locked down. I think both Albon and Sainz have multi-year contracts. So, but I'd like to see that wrap up in the coming weeks because when you leave it this late on, it's not as exciting. Like eventually you have like the ticking timer of the season ending, and you need to lock stuff down. But I like to get it locked down early, so that I would like. What about you? What would you like to see?
I think in the driver moves, I'm mostly fine with everything. I definitely think whoever is looking at the Bottas Perez discussion, they should go with Bottas at the opportunity they get. But in terms of the season itself, I'm just looking forward to a Charles Leclerc win at this point. I think he is driving a very good race at this point, but Ferrari has been dropping the ball regularly. Even he was on pole in the most recent race. Was it Hungary? I think.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah. He was on pole. He was leading a lot of the race, but he still couldn't keep up with the Mercedes at the very end and had to settle outside the podium even. So I think the team is letting him down. And honestly, if this keeps happening, I would rather see him go somewhere else than just waste his career here, like many other drivers have.
Yeah, No, that I would like to see. I would like to see.
Yeah,
He's
Leclerc
getting so
win.
close, and he was really opportunistic as well in that qualifying for Hungary.
Yeah.
With the track temperature, and yeah, I was that was fun to see, and it's just getting closer. It's gonna happen at some point where he's gonna score that win this year. So just a matter of time.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for today. Hopefully, the next episode will be a lot sooner than the gap between episodes this time.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, education and real life gets in the way too often. But fun episode. We'll catch up again soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.